Good evening, fellow Athenians and Toastmasters, and of course to all our very welcome guests. So for those of you, I'm not sure if we've got any guests who it's their first time tonight. I think there may have been one or two. So you may be wondering, what the hell is this bloke going to do then? Well, I'm basically going to evaluate all the people who haven't had an evaluation. So some of the functionaries, such as the chairperson, the president, the timekeeper, etc., as well as the actual evaluators who are evaluating the speeches. So my role is supposedly to give them some recommendations, if I can. So I'll start off with the start of the meeting. Before the meeting actually started, I was watching what was happening, and as far as I can tell, all of the guests were greeted by various people, and I think everyone was made quite welcome. Was that the case for all of the guests? But did you all feel quite welcome? Yeah. Fantastic, because it is very much a social environment, and a lot of the reason the guests come here in the first place is because of maybe a slight lack of confidence or wanting to improve speaking, and so if you're greeted warmly, it makes the whole evening so much better. So that it did seem that everyone was greeted. Tonight it was almost like keeping with the film analogy that we've heard from Simone. It was like Back to the Future, going forward a week to next week with the evaluation contest, because we had some of the best evaluators we have in the club were giving evaluations tonight. And so we almost got a taste of what we're going to hear next week at the contest, because there were some fabulous evaluations. Before I go into the evaluation, someone I want to mention who doesn't always get mentioned is our Sergeant of Arms, Valentin, who every week he's doing something for the club. He sets everything up before any of us come in. He's running around doing various things. I'm surprised he wasn't actually making the tea earlier. But today he stepped in, and he's been actually the video master tonight as well. And maybe we should get him a uniform. He's a sergeant after all, so maybe we should have a little cap and some stripes on his arm. I don't know. But another thing I noticed tonight, there was a great display of confidence and authority from, I think, every single person who spoke, which is a great example to set for the people who are coming along here and a lot of people mention the reason they come here is to improve their confidence when speaking. And there certainly was some great examples of confidence and authority from the people who spoke. So starting with the evaluators, because they do some of the most important roles here, and they're often left till last and aren't given sufficient time when the general evaluator does his thing. So our first evaluator was Sui Chin, and she was evaluating Kate. Sui Chin is just such an example how an evaluation is done. She never uses notes. She is so confident, so clear. You can hear her wherever you're sat in the room at just the perfect volume. I don't know how she manages to analyse the way that she does. It's just incredible. Her listening skills really are something else. The only recommendation I would give to Sui Chin is, you mentioned about, quite early in the evaluation, about how Kate is a DTM and then blah, blah, blah. Well, there's probably quite a few people thinking, what the hell is a DTM? So, in case you were wondering, a DTM is a Distinguished Toastmaster, which means Kate is one of the most experienced Toastmasters in the country, never mind about this club. So that would be the only thing, just to be careful with the kind of thing with acronyms. Sorry. But other than that, it was a superb evaluation. Number 2, we had Charlie Saville. Again, another one of our top evaluators. Charlie is the master of pausing and also insights, the way he's able to look into what is said and maybe not always say the obvious, what many of the other evaluators say. He often finds a different angle to comment on, and it's always a real pleasure listening to what Charlie says. He's amazing, articulate, and the way his great use of vocabulary as well. The only problem I had, his recommendations were so thought out, and he gave some really good examples, and I was getting totally engrossed in all of this. I couldn't think of an example, a recommendation for him rather. But yeah, it really is a pleasure listening to Charlie. Number 3, we had Louis, and Louis was evaluating the speech given by Chris Jolly. Again, Louis always manages, he never uses notes when he evaluates. He analyses it very well as well. He gets right down to what's been said. He has a great recall of exactly what everyone has been saying, and always gives some very good recommendations. And once again, he did that with Chris tonight. The last of the speech evaluations was given by Miles for the speech that was given by Julian. Miles has really good eye contact with the room. And sometimes it's almost like he's, I wonder if you're a tennis fan. Are you into Wimbledon at all? Because Miles has this habit of, he starts off on the left and he goes to the right. And then he's to the left and he goes to the right. So it's almost like watching a tennis match of Miles. But he does some great evaluations. He obviously very keenly listened to the speech, very keenly listened to what was said, some very well thought out recommendations, and he's got a little bit of an Italian manner as well with his hands. I don't know if he's been watching Simone too much. Or the last of the evaluators we heard tonight was David, who was evaluating the table topics earlier on in the night. And David, it's not easy to do a table topics evaluation because you come up here straight after the actual table topics have been done and you don't have much time to think. And yet, he gave a recommendation to every single person who spoke, which I thought was superb. I was really very impressed by that. He also, not only did he give recommendations, which is hard enough in itself, but he then also gave examples. He didn't just simply recommend, he would then give an example of how the recommendation may work. So, very, very impressive. He's got such a big smile. It's and his light-hearted manner. It's always good listening to David when he speaks, and even with his funky cycle gear that he wears. Our table topics master was Emil, and he started off. Theme seemed to be going with the Oscars. Then we kind of wandered and we were talking about age and affording not to work, and I realised there wasn't really a theme, which in a way is good because sometimes the themes can be a bit constricting because sometimes it seems people are trying so hard to fit all the questions into one particular theme. Some of the end questions can get a bit boring. That wasn't the case tonight at all. I thought there was a really great range of questions that enabled everyone to easily answer the question, which is what the table topic should be about. So great job, Emil. Both Emil and Simone, who both did functionary roles tonight, I think they should be a double act because they both got the most fantastic smile and their personalities are just amazing. They really command the stage, they just look so happy, they look like they're really enjoying it, the enthusiasm. They're a fantastic double act. I think you need to do something together.
Ant and Deck.
Oh, there we go, yeah. On to grammarian, Fiona. Fiona's really been getting stuck in. She hasn't been a member very long, but she's just been immersing herself. I think she's done a couple of speeches already. She's done some functionary roles. Tonight she was grammarian. And the grammarian, it's always nice when a grammarian actually picks out not only some fantastic uses of language, but uses superb language herself. And that was very much the case when the examples with the syntax sentinel and the syntax sergeant that she was talking about, and the linguistic gymnastics she was talking about as well. And she even had a prize for Chucks. I'm not sure if she actually physically gave Chucks a prize, but you'll be getting a prize later as well. A very good job done by Fiona. There was the word of the day apparently was used 6 times, which meant it was an easy word to use. So yeah, a great job. Our chairperson was Maheen. In her role, she talked about it always being perfect. Well, Maheen always is perfect in whatever role she does, whether it be giving a speech, evaluating, and she's one of the stalwarts of the club because she's always doing something, always doing something. There was a lovely message. In fact, Maheen, for those of you who may not realise, she steps in at the last moment. She's been a bit of a superhero. She wasn't supposed to be doing this role tonight. It was originally someone else. So I think we need to get a cloak for Maheen so she can really be a superhero. Our Toastmaster, as I mentioned, was Simone, Mr. Bubbly, Mr. Enthusiasm. And I find it impossible not to smile when I'm sitting there watching him, because he's just such a contagious smile. A great job, you put people at ease. The only thing I would say is, someone pointed out to me, sometimes leave the applause a bit more, because you don't always, you were doing it sometimes, but not always. So that could be something just to encourage the audience to really give some, some enthusiasm to the person who's about to speak, or to give them a great welcome. Our timekeeper was James. James he's been a bit reticent sometimes about doing some of the things, but he's had a bit of He's not reticent about doing the job. So I won't say any more about that. And just to finish off, Chucks is the main man. He's improved so much since he's been doing the role as president. It really has. You can see how much he's improved week by week. I really think you're doing a fantastic job. So I love this club. I think we've got some fantastic people and a really, really friendly atmosphere. Thank you very much.